It is impossible to take your eyes off of this man and this Spurs team. They are box office. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs back in business today, hosting the winless Brooklyn Nets. But we know any given night in the NBA, anybody can step up. That was what Wemby and company were learning early, especially against Cam Thomas. Thomas with a floater and one, but then there's Wemby. Remember, Wemby had 9 blocks in their last game against the Pelicans. There's a block and there's a dime. As impressive as Wemby has been and was, today Dylan Harper equally impressive. Harper in and one, he's got some early mojo, but on the other end, Cam Thomas unguardable. Early in the second quarter now, Spurs up by 5. That improved bag of Wemby. Look at the moves. We've seen some beautiful stuff already from Wemby. Spurs up by 10 midway through the second quarter. It's Dylan Harper's turn. Check out the finesse. Harper putting on a show, and now Harper getting it out to Wemby in transition. Lead ballooning, it's up to 14. By the way, a lot of people would consider this Nets team to be the worst team in basketball. Wemby with the roll and the slam, and now Harper taking it away from his fellow rookie Yegor Joman. We've already seen some incredible sequences from Wembanyama early this season, but this one, to me, was his best all year so far. 2 consecutive blocks on one end. Now he hits a logo pull-up 3. Spurs were up by so much. They were up by 20 plus. It felt like the night was over. But Cam Thomas and the Nets say, hold on, not so fast. Thomas was going off. Lead is all the way down to 9, so they need a defensive stop, and who else to get it but Wemby. Wemby with a stop, Harper with the rebound, and Harper with the assist. But even still, Cam Thomas keeping them close. Lead is all the way down to 1. Fourth quarter in this one, and check out Harper like a 10-year vet. Harper with a smooth pump fake and bucket, and then Harper with the hustle, grabbing the loose ball and finding that man, Wemby, for 3. As amazing as those two were, somehow, someway, 4:40 to go, this man is a pure bucket. Cam Thomas ties the game moments later on the next possession. Harper says, get on my shoulders. A minute 10 to go, Spurs up by 4. We haven't even mentioned Stephon Castle. And you know who else we haven't mentioned? Devin Vassell. Steal and slam. Now the Spurs up by 8 and one more for good measure. And what an exclamation point to a perfect start. I know some of you are going to say, oh, it's just the Nets. Who cares? But the point being, the Spurs look like they're growing on a nightly basis. And today they go to 3-0, and they do so behind the best game of Dylan Harper's young career. A game where you saw the flashes of stardom that we've talked about in the preseason and in the summer. Harper with 28 and 6. They overcome 40 points. And hilariously, no assist from Cam Thomas. That's not shade, though. Cam is incredible. One of the best pure bucket getters in the league. Dylan Harper was incredible, but once again, the story of the game, Victor Wembanyama. 31-14, 6 blocks, 3 steals, 4 assists. One critique that you can point out, he was 10 for 15 from the free throw line. Imagine if he can make himself an 85 to 90% free throw shooter with the amount of times he's going to get fouled throughout his career. By the way, this is the first time since 2009 that the Spurs are 3-0 to start a season, and we know what the Spurs were up to in the 2000s. Tomorrow they're back in business, hosting the Toronto Raptors, a chance to get to 4-0 and improve on that incredible early start to their season as their chemistry and camaraderie continues to build, and as they wait for the return of De'Aaron Fox, and don't forget about Jeremy Sohan either. And one more thing we have to discuss about the Spurs today. What a special day for Greg Popovich, getting his name and accolades in the rafters along with so many other notable Spurs. We're soon going to see, I think, Victor Wembanyama join this list, and Dylan Harper, and who knows, maybe Steph Castle as well.